Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Orbital Takes. Today is Wednesday, November 23rd. Today's episode is brought to you by Space Flight Hub and Space with Spo. On today's show, we're going to break down the hottest space news on the planet. As always, we have some updates with two major space missions right now. First, we're going to talk about Artemis I. Then we're going to go into the James Webb Space Telescope. And at the end of the episode, we're going to hit you with a quick launch and scrub of the week. First things first, Pat. I feel like life is just better with the Artemis I mission off the ground. The mission manager today said he gave it a cautiously optimistic A+ so far. I've never gotten an A+ on anything in my life. This is great. I feel like, I don't know, I'm waking up smiling. I'm going to sleep dreaming about the moon now. How have you felt about the past week seeing this thing at the moon?
I've been buzzing this whole week since last Wednesday morning when this thing took off. There's been incredible views from the launch. There's been incredible views of Orion on the way to the moon. And then just yesterday, we were treated with, like we've been talking about on this show, how cool it's going to be when we see the selfie with the Earthrise. It has been, I can't remember another time like this. Maybe sometime around, Inspiration 4 maybe was kind of like this, but this is on a whole different level, in my opinion. Yeah. This is, we can talk all the shit we want on the decade of delay and the billions over budget and all that stuff, but right now everyone's just like, yep, this is a pretty kick-ass mission.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's worth the $4 billion for sure. When you look at the moon, it's about 230,000 miles away. When you're looking at that footage of Orion next to the moon, they came as close to 81 miles above the moon's surface. That is so fucking close to the moon. They might as well have just touched down on the moon on this mission, right? Yeah, they're right there.
They're right there. Yeah, to see a human-rated spacecraft on the far side of the moon, way further than any of the Apollo capsules went, and that's for a variety of reasons, a different orbit and everything like that. Artemis is still trying to just park itself in that distant retrograde orbit. But to see it, it just really puts it all into perspective, how you can see this spacecraft selfie on the far side of the moon and then a little tiny pinprick of Earth in the distance. It's just wild.
Did you see that the rocket damaged the launch pad and it blew away the elevator doors during the liftoff? Did you see that photo?
Yeah, it's surprising that they and granted, we are not rocket scientists or rocket engineers or anything like that here, but it's like, you've had how long to plan for this, and you didn't think to account for some of this stuff on the damage side of things. That makes me think, what is Starship going to do to their?
Oh my god!
You have 33 massive engines and what is that going to do to stage 0? I'm sure SpaceX has taken stuff into account. They redesigned Launchpad, certain parts of Launchpad 39B, like the flame trench, and they redid the concrete and that stuff. So some of the stuff certainly was able to hold up just fine, but it was that thing got fucked up.
bad too. Blew out the doors.
Yeah. Such is the most powerful rocket in the world, though. I guess, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here. If it didn't blow the doors off, we'd probably be disappointed, right?
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that. And it was nighttime, so nobody could even see to the morning. Imagine you just get there and you see devastation everywhere, all over the launch pad.
Yeah, we haven't got many close-up views, though, because some kind of proprietary hookup for the umbilicals or something like that. So they're not allowing close-up photos of that for some reason. China.
Let's talk about the CubeSats now. So the Artemis I mission also launched 10 CubeSats, and some of them are fucked up right now. Specifically, I know Japan had a tiny lunar lander on there that never got to touch down. It just lost communication with the ground. And now it's just floating out there in dead space. Do we have any space beef with Japan, or is it really just China that we're fuck you?
I don't think
is this do you feel bad for Japan? I don't know. They're really not on my shit list. So I'm kind of
no. Japan, we're good with Japan. Bro.
We are, right? China's the ones who's fucking falling rockets on us left and right.
JAXA is going to be making, rovers for the Artemis program. That's something that China isn't doing. So,
oh, good point. JAXA has astronauts that have been on the Crew Dragon before. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. That sucks for those CubeSats. I would make the argument that that's why they're CubeSats is, they're,
100%.
if something happens to them, it's not like you've invested $250 million into some crazy spacecraft.
Mm-hmm.
I read that they were able to get in and recharge some of these CubeSats. Some of them they weren't able to just because of where they were inside the rocket, and they just weren't. It would have taken more time to take that certain fairing apart and take the CubeSats out and recharge them. So such is life when you're having to roll it back to the VAB.
Yeah, we're losing some of these miniature satellites, but the reality is, as long as Capstone successfully finds the orbit for the Lunar Gateway, I'm fine with that, right? Like these payloads, I mean, yeah, they would be great if we could deploy all 10 of them successfully. But at the end of the day, the rocket got off the ground. The mission manager is giving it a optimistic A+ right now. Let's take what we can get at this point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pat, let's get into the JWST. So they finally confirmed that they're not changing the James Webb Telescope name after cancel culture basically went after Webb, and they were like, this guy's a piece of shit, change the name. And they dropped like a fucking 81-page report on the guy that was basically saying, look, we're not changing it. We don't see that he was a piece of shit. He's with us. So I don't know. Those are some updates there. What do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the guy James Webb. I'm glad that an internal investigation yielded this. I'm glad that we already have a kind of questionable history with ex-Nazis in the Saturn V. So I'm glad to see that they were able to say, hey, no, James Webb wasn't the there was rumors that he was homophobic and led kind of a witch hunt.
They literally had to hire the agency's chief historian to like go and do like a book report on James Webb, and they basically found no evidence that supports the claims that he was directly linked to any actions of firing individuals for their sexual orientation. That was like all the drama around it. Now, this guy's been dead for, I think he died in like the 90s. He died at like 85 years old. And it's just wild to me to think that he's been dead for a while now, like almost 30 years. And he's not only being canceled, now his name is like being permanently attached to uncovering secrets of the universe. Like this guy's probably rolling in his fucking grave. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing up there, man? Like, figure it out.
Yeah, I would feel a lot better if there was a third-party independent agency that would corroborate this. NASA investigating themselves is a little suspect.
Yeah, we didn't find nothing here.
Nothing to see here. And like that's fine if that's actually true, but maybe a third-party watchdog could come in and say, hey, actually, NASA was correct in this.
Before social media, how do you even confirm something like that? It's not like you got like read receipts or anything like that, like, iPhone message screenshots. I mean, they're probably digging through like actual physical letters, like written letters and shit like that.
Oh, 100%.
And what people wrote to each other. I don't know. It's just
100%.
such a shit show. But I'll tell you what, I am now on the James Webb train. I kind of kept myself quiet over the past couple of years, right? With all this drama. I didn't necessarily want to steer one way or another without having the full story. Now that NASA has confirmed I could be a James Webb fan, fuck yeah, Webb. Let's go, boy. He's back, dude. He's uncanceled.
Maybe a good topic for a future OTOG.
Oh, hit him with a future OTOG. I'm down. But yeah, the other just massive news. I mean, this telescope, it's so hard to follow. It's doing science every day, but I mean, looking at the oldest light in our universe is the coolest thing ever. They break the record almost like every week. Every week I'm seeing a new article about, new oldest light. And it's just, we're just going to keep seeing this until we find something ridiculous out there.
Yep. It's just an incredible machine, and we're just so lucky to be living in this golden age of astronomy.
Yep, and we're so lucky that this thing is named after the gentleman, James Webb. All right, let's go into launch and scrub of the week. You want to start or what?
I will start us off. My launch of the week, thanks to my buddy John, who pointed these out to me, are these absolutely fire uniforms from the U.S. Navy football team. For the annual Army-Navy game that's coming up. These teams have alternate uniforms that they wear for this game that aren't their normal every week uniforms, and they're always harkening back to something in the Corps' history. and the Navy decided to tie them back to the 45 astronauts that have served in the U.S. Navy. These uniforms somehow are cooler, in my opinion, than the absolutely awesome uniforms that the University of Central Florida puts out every year for their space game.
Yeah.
They just went up to them somehow.
So half of Kennedy Space Center's workforce went to UCF, right?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so great.
And some of the best, not the best, some of the more famous astronauts that we know went to the U.S. Naval Academy, such as Alan Shepard, first American in space.
Wow.
Pete Conrad from Apollo 12. The legendary John Young, one of my personal favorite astronauts. Jim Lovell, also maybe my favorite astronaut.
Legend.
Gene Cernan, the last man to walk on the moon. There's also Bruce McCandless, which is, he has the iconic photo Untethered, where he's like some crazy, like 140 meters away from the space shuttle or whatever. And then there's a significant number of current astronauts that have also gone to the U.S. Naval Academy.
Let me give you one. I'll give you one right now. Johnny Kim.
Yep, Johnny Kim.
Johnny Kim. You got Chris Cassidy.
Yep.
Johnny Kim is a badass. I watched the documentary.
And these uniforms, they have on one side of the helmets, they have an image of an astronaut floating in space, which is Bruce McCandless. On the other side, they have the moon with the NASA worm logo. They have the NASA meatball logo on each shoulder. They have the astronaut pin, the astronaut stars and stripe kind of logo there, when the astronauts go up and they get awarded a pin. They have that on the legs, on the side of the legs, and on their gloves. Their shoes are meant to look like moon boots. The football itself will have a bunch of craters on it like the moon, because I guess Navy is technically the host of it. But these are like the coolest alternate uniforms I think I have personally seen. And that's saying a lot considering the awesome uniforms that UCF has every year. Very unexpected, but yeah, that's my launch of the week. These are I was blown away when I saw these.
I want to buy that helmet and have some of these astronauts sign it. Also, Pat, I'm over here thinking, I never played college football. I technically have 4 years of eligibility left. I should just send in my fucking resume, my highlight tape over to Navy, see if they could put me in one of these uniforms and just run out with the team. I mean, these things are fire. I got a good launch of the week this time. So we are going to launch this new map of the observable universe. Here's what we're going to do, guys. Everybody get your phone out right now. We're going to do this together. Go to www.mapoftheuniverse.net / that shit. Click enter, and once you get there, we're going to talk about it. All right, we're here. This map is fucking crazy. I love looking at like any type of graphic that can explain where your position is in the universe, and this does just that. And it's so accurate. They took actual data collected by a digital sky survey that collects all these distant galaxies, and it is the coolest thing ever. You could put it as your iPhone background, or you could just, stare at it all night long. I love this map. We are launching the observable universe. You looking at it or what?
Yeah, when you texted me the other day about this, I was like, damn, this is such an easily digestible map of the universe, because to present, I don't think we have really a good map per se. And it's really hard to do that because, like, where are we in conjunction, or in where are we relative to the whole universe? It's really hard to pinpoint that and make it easily understandable, which I think this guy has done. My scrub of the week is the SpaceX Dragon program. And what I mean by that, SpaceX is currently building its final cargo Dragon, or it just finished actually, and it's currently building its final Crew Dragon. So the company feels like it has enough of these spacecrafts already in use and in rotation that they don't need to build any more. Which is pretty crazy considering they've only been flying people since 2017, and to the space station they've been flying cargo since 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. So really not even 10 years, and they've already pumped out enough to satisfy their needs. There's a couple reasons for this. Number one, the ISS is going to be deorbited in 2030, so there's not really a huge need to continue pumping these things out. Number two is this thing called Starship. I don't know if you've heard of it. but it's going to be make Dragon just pretty much obsolete. But for the time being, until Starship gets up and running, they need something. So so it's a scrub because it's, we're saying goodbye in short order to the Dragon program. We still have the J Money, Polaris, Dawn. They're still
coming.
They're still going to go up. The Dragon isn't going anywhere for a little while, but they're confident enough that they don't need to continue producing these things.
All right, so my scrub of the week is unfortunate news. Professor Tom Marsh disappeared during a visit to Chile, and he was found dead, dude. I mean, it's fucked up. He was like one of the founding professors of Warwick University Astronomy and Astrophysics, and he was widely regarded as like one of the world leading experts in this field, and that is a huge L for the space community. I feel horrible that happened. At the moment, authorities don't have any cause of his death, so we don't know whether it was like he got murdered or, it was something like suicide or something like that. So we'll keep you guys posted with that. But yeah, we lost a good one in the astronomy community in Chile while he was on a trip too. He was on a research trip too, like at those like observatories. So that kind of sucks. I hate to end the episode on, a bad note, but I feel like, it's news. You got to talk about it sometimes. You know what I mean?
Not all news is going to be good. So
there you have it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, they have another episode of Orbital Takes in the books. Thank you for listening, as always. Pat, where can they find us online?
You can find us online on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Orbital Takes. We'd also would appreciate 5 stars, or if you would leave us a review on whatever podcast platform you use to listen to us. And at Astra, everybody.